Good evening. I'm Retha Hill, and today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship in the age of AI. So, I've been doing online media for many decades now. It seems weird to say that, but since 1995 and even a little bit before that. But today we're going to sort of focus in on becoming an AI wizard in the new media ecosystem. And it's so important that we think about how we can level up in a time of artificial intelligence. And I know a lot of people are kind of opposed to AI, and we look at it as something that will take jobs away from journalists as opposed to providing opportunity. But it's really important that we think about what's coming and how we can be a part of it. Now, we're going to cover about three different areas, but I want to remind people that if you have questions or comments, to drop those in the Q&A, not in the chat area, but in the Q&A, and I'll try to get to as many of those as possible. So I'm Retha Hill. I've been a member of the National Association of Black Journalists since I was in college. I have been a member of the Digital Task Force for many years, and this is brought to you by the Digital Task Force and NABJ, and you should become a member if you're not already. So why is it important to think like an entrepreneur? It's really important because, as you know, there's a lot of instability in journalism at this point. And we never know when we're going to walk into the office one day and be told that your division is being eliminated, or that there's some layoffs, or that things are being reorganized. And I think it's really important to always have a different stream of income, or to be thinking about what might be next. Even big publications, networks, and really venerable publications are unstable right now. And so we have to think about how we can protect ourselves and how we can think about the future and level up our skills. The old reliable avenues of side hustles have dried up over the years. It used to be that journalists, when they were thinking about, well, I'll stop writing or being on television or stop being a daily journalist, thought about going into PR or thought about teaching at a university. But I'm here to tell you that even those old faithful side hustles are no longer what they used to be. Public relations companies are looking for audience engagement specialists, people who know about audience engagement, who know about Salesforce, who know about SEI and engagement. And unless you have those skills, they're not going to look to you to fill those roles. And even as at universities, communications departments are looking for adjuncts or full-time people with graduate degrees who can teach 21st century skills, including AI. I just retired from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University in July, and we were hiring someone to teach investigative journalism and AI just earlier this year. And we had a lot of people apply for a job that paid really well, I mean, $200,000. And we had a lot of people who either had the investigative chops, but they didn't have the AI skills that we were looking for. And some people tried to sweet talk their way into the job, but they just did not have those skills. So that was something that it took us a long time to fill the position, but we finally did fill it. So if you want to think about what's next, then this is a good place to start. And I'll talk about some of the opportunities. And there are dozens of opportunities for new businesses and side hustles when it comes to artificial intelligence. But I'll be focusing in on three categories: sort of generative AI, app creation, and building your own media empire. There's a lot more to generative AI than what you might see on TikTok or Instagram, and we all enjoy looking at the funny memes and looking at the songs, like hip hop that's been transformed into 1950s and 1960s music. That's fun, but what I'm thinking about is how it can be used in so many creative ways. App creation, films and documentaries, graphic novels, book creation, and product art. And I'm going to go through a few of those and kind of lead you through my thinking and sort of like the 50,000 foot formula in terms of how you can start to get your hands wrapped around that, your arms wrapped around that. Now, journalists are perfectionists in many ways. We want to, be very careful about how we do things. We want to be ethical. We want to, make sure that we are not racing out and doing something that would be considered AI slop, and that's really important. But other people are not waiting. They're rushing onto YouTube, they're rushing into media, and they're creating true crime. They're creating so-called historical events. They're rehashing Black culture, and they're not researching it. Some of the stuff that's out there that they're making money off of, they're not even presenting what is true. I mean, even at a cursory look, I mean, there's a channel out there on Black culture, things like 20 recipes that nobody in the Black community is making anymore. Things like um, red beans and rice or collard greens with turkey necks. I just had that a couple of weeks ago. So we're still making that, but this is how people are making money, and they're putting this together and they're getting views and they're getting sponsorships and they're putting it out there, but we're not doing it. But our advantage, the one advantage that we have, is that we know how to research the facts and we know how to tell a good story. So this is something that as journalists, we can kind of slide into that in terms of creating content. Now, one of the things that I think would be very easy for people who are looking to get into creating content using the skills that we already have. I'm a nerd when it comes to history and pulling together documentaries. I'm like really enjoying Ken Burns's American Revolution project that just started on Sunday. It is excellent if you haven't started watching it. And I love the WTTW Chicago stories where they tell, how big names of companies and individuals in Chicago, whereas, Sears and Roebuck versus Montgomery Ward, how they got their start and how they were fighting it out back in the early 20th century. And you can replicate this formula in your city and then try to sell it to the local stations there that maybe you worked at before you got laid off, or if you think that you might get laid off. And AI, it can help you do this. You can tell interesting stories that newcomers to that city or others who maybe lived there their whole lives might not know about, these iconic businesses, people, and landmarks that you can research and tell about the behind the scenes of how these iconic businesses, people, or landmarks kind of got their start and what happened to them if they decline or if they're still there. And this is something that AI, as I said, can go there. The formula of how to do this and do it well is that you can go to a chat GPT, a Perplexity, or any LLM chat of your choosing, and you treat it like a smart graduate assistant to help you research your subject. Unfortunately, a lot of people treat like a chat GPT or a Claude like a Google or search engine. Find me this or get me that, and they don't really use it the way they can. These GPTs are getting, or these chats are getting so much better by the day, by the week, by the month. And what you can do is that you can treat it like it's a colleague, and it can help you pull together some of the research for your documentary and come up with the shot list and some of the archives that you might need. So this is what you do, is that you say to it, you're a research assistant for a small film studio. We create 15 to 20-minute films or longer, 30-minute films about iconic businesses, people, and places in your city that will resonate with both local and national audiences. Research a list of 5 businesses and also a separate list of 5 people to begin with that fit this category. You can give it some examples of what it is that you want to see and make sure that you include links to your resources. All right. Hi, we have audio. Check your system. Did I forget to unmute? No, I'm unmuted. Wait a minute. Let me stop for a second. I show that I am unmuted. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. You can have the Chat GPT or whatever to do some of this research. And then you can go out and you can collect your archival footage and images. You can have the Chat GPT or whatever it is go out and find some of this footage for you, that's open source, that is not copyrighted. And then you can start putting these small films together. You can narrate the film yourself if you have the chops, you have the voice, or you can use AI to create the narration. And then, as I said before, you can go back to the local station or approach a local station or the city-owned access channel, or you can create a YouTube page to put these out there. And what AI can do is it can significantly reduce the cost and the production time for putting together a small documentary. This summer, I was took some training on doing a documentary, and we were went through about 4 or 5 weeks of training, and we were tasked with trying to put together 8 or 9 minute documentary. And I did one, and it actually came out pretty well. I got great feedback from my professor as well as some other people. And it was a great experience, all AI. And what I want to do is do another one, but this time I want to have it mixed modal where I'm actually going out and filming, but also pulling in some AI to help with certain things that will help me do the second one that'll be much longer. The other thing that you might want to think about in terms of doing something else that AI can help you with is if you've ever thought about creating a graphic novel or even an animated series. AI can help you with that, and it's something that you might be able to sell and make money off of. You just have to think about what is your interest, what is your skill set, and how can AI help you do that. Now, this is an example of something that you can easily do. You don't need to have an illustrator. I mean, I'm not throwing any shade at illustrators. If you have the money to hire one, that's great. If you have the time, but you can go to something like Midjourney or any of the other generative AI image makers and create your art. Now, the trick is that you have to learn how to make consistent characters, because if you don't learn how to do that, and that's the most frustrating thing of working with these image makers, is that if you're not careful and you don't know the trick to be consistent, you can make this, it's beautiful, but this black detective, the next time you run the next scene, he could be light skinned with a jerry curl. And so it'll throw your whole production off. So if you want to make sure that your detective character looks the same way, you have to do certain things to train the model so that your detective looks the same way from scene to scene to scene, that the town looks a certain way, that the atmosphere looks the same way. And that's something that you have to do with practice and learning all the tricks. Let me see if I'm seeing any Q&As come up here. Let me check in here. No open questions yet. Make sure that if you have any Q&As, any questions or things that you want to know more about, feel free to put those in the Q&A and I'll clarify anything that I'm talking about or go into more detail about something. Or suppose you've always wanted to write children's books or young adult books. This is another area in which you can make money by, fulfilling that dream there. Let me just check the chat. And you can again go to Midjourney or go to one of the other generative AI image makers and come up with a series of illustrations. This took me about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to come up with some that I really like. And then, of course, you've sort of storyboarded what you want to create and what you think your children's book might be about. And then you can put that together in for your story. You have the cute little illustrations, and you're putting together your story. And trust me, when my son was little, it was so hard to find books that would appeal to him when he was 6 or 7 years old, that had at the center of it a Black boy that was having an adventure or doing fun things. Even now, is getting better, but it's still not something that's as prevalent of other people. And then once you write your manuscript, get it all together, you can make your book online to sell. And don't forget your other products. You can take that and you can make t-shirts, you can make notebooks, you can make backpacks, you can make stickers, you can make all kinds of things to go along with your book that you can sell. Now, you can start doing this while you're still working if you have the energy. Because again, why wait until you get the axe? Why wait until you're shown the door to start thinking like an entrepreneur? If this does not conflict with something that you're doing with your current job, you can start leveling up your skills so that you have some kind of a stream of income that you could be working on while you're doing your current job. And again, I pulled together the art. I went into Nano Banana, and which is Google's one of Google's programs that can take a piece of art and then put it on a book cover. And then I had the Nano Banana take the art and then put it on a t-shirt, just to show you how easy it is to kind of assemble everything that you might need to have a cohesive product that you can sell online, whether it's on Amazon, eBay, Artsy, any of those places like that, Etsy, or on the Nile. The other thing that you can do, let me just check to see if there are any questions coming through here. I don't see any here. Is you can become an avatar app builder. Over the years, I've made a lot of different avatar apps. Some of them were, freakishly cartoonish. They barely look like me. Then you recorded a voice. You recorded like maybe one sentence of me saying something. But today, there are a lot of different app builders that you can use, that you can program, that can answer questions, that can you can create a resource document that could be everything you want to know about me, or if you're doing this for a business or an organization, it could be their entire FAQ, or it could be their knowledge bank, and you marry those two together, and then it can answer customer questions, or if it's for an organization, it can answer all those basic questions for that organization. So here's one that I did for a startup called Ask Miss K, and I've known Miss K for many years. And she ran a daycare center here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And so she's answered a lot of questions, helped a lot of stressed out parents and families over the years. And so I created this application for her, this avatar, And then we came up with a series of questions and answers based on her 25, 30 years of running a daycare center and helping a lot of stressed out parents, and had a judgment-free zone, as she calls it, loaded that knowledge base into the back end for this app. And now she has this website where she'll answer your questions. You can either speak to it and say, hey, I'm newly divorced. How do I help my 8-year-old with dealing with the fact that mom and dad are no longer together? Or how do I help my child deal with being bullied in school? And so she'll answer you. And so this is something I put together over the course of about 3 weeks. It took me to get everything, recorded her voice. And this is something that comes through when they ask questions. And she has a business that she's, having people to sign up. They pay a weekly fee, excuse me, a monthly fee, and this is her business now. So she's taking this childcare knowledge that she has, and it's a internet business. And so my role was to do all of the back end here. So let me check and see what's going on. So I see we have some questions. So let me see. Lisa B, I'm excited about AI, but how do we protect the business ideas we create with AI? Can we trademark them or copyright so the AI model does not use it to give to someone else using the platform, or just steal it altogether? Because we know most of the LLMs are using the date we give it to train the AI model. All but Google models clearly say they are not using the info we give it to train its model. Yeah, that's a good question, Lisa, and it's very competitive out there. I think that when you come up with your idea, that you should start working on it as soon as possible. You should trademark your name for sure, and you should try to keep it out of the public domain as quickly, as much as possible until you have your prototype up there. And that's the best thing. I mean, ideas, a lot of people can come up with the same idea. And if you have a very specific idea that you think others won't come up with, good for you. But lots of people are coming up with the same idea. I have a business called Ancest Stories XR, and I'm amazed that some of the big genealogy companies are not doing this particular idea. They come close, but they haven't done this particular idea in the 5 years that I've been working on it off and on, and I've rejiggered it a couple of times. And I keep looking and they're not doing it. Either it's a stupid idea or they just haven't gotten around to it, but they haven't. But thank you for that question. Will you provide for us a list of resources? Yes, at the end of this and on the recording, you'll see a list of resources. What are some of my favorite AI apps? I mean, I like working with ChatGPT in terms of doing my research. I'm really liking the Google Suite because it's kind of got everything there. I love Midjourney. I love working with, yeah, like I said, Midjourney. I love working with Dance and Kling and Leonardo and some of those in terms of creating my movies, creating my animations, because there are so many of them out there that it will drive you batty trying to keep up with all of them. And so I do give you a list. I am going to be starting a deep dive where you can sign up and take a course from me so that you can learn a lot more of what I know. And I'm aiming it at media professionals, so you're not learning alongside people who are into other careers, because I want to aim it at media professionals because we have a different sensibility in terms of how we do things. We want it to be ethical. We want it to take in consideration all of the things that we try to do as journalists. Let me just show you another thing. Now, HeyGen, I've not gotten into HeyGen, but this is another avatar creator. And think about developing these avatars for small businesses or groups. So if you're involved, whether it's your church and you can develop a avatar for your church, a big church that might have new members joining. And instead of having to have the new member ministry answer the same questions over and over again, you can develop an app for them. And again, the recording will be on the NABJ's YouTube page. I just wanted to mention that, and it'll have a list of resources. Or maybe, again, small businesses in your town. Don't feel like you're behind. I was just watching something on I think it was Forbes TV today, and a lot of people are throwing money at AI, but nobody's sort of figured it all out. So small businesses that might want to get start using AI, maybe you can develop a chat bot for them with a personification. Maybe it's the person who started the business 40 years ago. You can make a picture or an avatar of them when they were young, and they're answering all those questions about what the business does, or how long, what are their hours, all of that kind of stuff, and you can sell it to them. Again, this is post your journalism life, or if you want to go ahead and retire when you're young and energetic, the way I did. I've got so many businesses I want to start. Other ways I've used avatars. This is, I sold this, I proposed this to Arizona PBS to coincide with the American Revolution, built the Hall of Ordinary Revolutionists with my students because I wanted to practice this. And so we have about 50 portraits that turn into avatars. When you click on them, they tell you a little bit about their lives and how they participated in the American Revolution. And then when you click on that portal, you go to a scene and you can learn a little bit more about certain of these people. Not all of them, but certain of these people and what they did during the American Revolution. Even made a avatar, a walking and talking avatar of good old George Washington. The other thing that you can do is that you can become a app maker, and you can code websites. And you might be thinking to yourself, but Rita, I don't know how to code. I don't know how to do that. Well, luckily, AI has made it much easier to code. And that's where vibe coding has come in. I don't know how many of you have heard about vibe coding, but it's like a phenomenon, and people are talking about it and getting into it. Vibe coding is a catch-all phrase for AI-driven code generation. The term was coined by OpenAI's co-founder Andre Karpathy just in spring of 2025, and it's kind of taken off. And sorry. And so basically, there are a whole bunch of tools out there: Bolt.new, Zapier, Windsurf, Replit, Cursor. Google just dropped one a couple of days ago that's part of their suite called Build on Google. I haven't had a chance to test that one yet. But what it does is that it allows you to just like use prompts to get one of these tools to kind of build apps and things for you. Now, you have to be intentional about it, but you don't really need to know coding. Some of them are dead simple to use. Others require some coding knowledge, so stay away from the ones that need the coding knowledge unless you like that sort of thing. Some are browser based, and other require or allows you to do a server install. I don't do the server install or any of that stuff. Some people want to do that. I don't. So Bolt.new is one that's pretty simple, is one of the fastest growing ones because it's so simple to use. And you can use that one to create web and mobile apps, websites, productivity tools, blogs, internal dashboards, and a lot more. And so you just prompt it. You can either speak it or you can type it, and then you watch as it continues to, as it builds it, and then you can continue to add different functions as it goes along. So I'm going to give you a demonstration. I've gone ahead and just made a quick video, so we're not doing this live, where we're going to create an events website for all the American Revolution activities in the New England region. So again, prompting as usual is key to success when it comes to vibe coding. And again, you have to think like you're speaking to a junior programmer. So a junior programmer is not the person who's been doing it forever. So they're smart, but they still need some hand holding. So your high level concept should be clear and bespoke to what it is that you want to build. So if you say, oh, just make me a cool app, well, who knows what you'll get because what's cool to them may not be what's in your mind. So you have to be very clear. You want to break up your task into manageable chunks. The feedback to the app should be explicit and unambiguous. You should use clear formatting when you're giving instructions rather than a blob of text. You should have sections on design and subsections of a design. What is it that you want to do? So you might say, well, how do you prompt a coding app or AI if you don't know much about coding? Well, here's the trick. You ask another AI. So you can go to Perplexity, ChatGPT, or Claude to help you write the prompt. So let me switch over to this. Where you say to another, like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, I want you to act as a prompt engineer and designer, but primarily for the prompt engineering. I want you to look up all the documentation on YouTube and other places for Bolt to design prompts for building an events app focused on the 250th anniversary for the Declaration of Independence and the American Revolution in New England. It's essential to leverage best practices for both Bolt and Claude 4, which is what Bolt uses. Each platform has to have this and that, and it goes through everything. So I want you to look up all of this stuff, provide clear step-by-step instructions to state the desired format for responses. So it's going through all of this. So once it looks up all of that information for you, now you tell it, using what you've learned, please write me a prompt. So it's going to write you a detailed prompt to create a beautiful, user-friendly application called New England's 250th Events, what the core features are going to be, what the technical requirements. And once you do this enough, you're going to start picking up some catchphrases and some the back end Node.js and all that kind of stuff. But you don't really need to know it, but you're going to start picking up some of the lingo. And then you're going to go ahead and copy all of this stuff. You're just going to copy this. Then you're going to go over to bolt.new. You're going to paste that into its application. You're just taking what the prompt, you're going to paste that in with the design requirements, the coding requirements, the design requirements, all of that kind of stuff. And you're watching on the left-hand side where Bolt is coming up with the plan, what it's going to do. Once it has the plan, it's going to correct some stuff. And then it's going to start building to verify the project. And then it's going to give you what it's done for you to look at. And then you can start tweaking it and adding on. And we're going to see what it's doing. It's going to create the database, it's the homepage components, the design features, the technical requirements. Again, you just, having a cup of tea while you're watching all of this. And boom, this is what you're getting. So as you can see, it's beautiful. It's loading all the states. You didn't have to tell it how many states are in New England. It's got all this kind of stuff. It's got mock content in here right now, but it's giving you basically what you asked for. Um, so just for talking the to Bolt or copying and pasting in the requirements, it's created this really nice thing. So imagine if you were able to go to organizations, to small businesses, to even your own family reunion, if you have a big family like I do, to be able to create all this stuff. So it's got all the states in there, it's got all the categories. As you can see, it's missing some stuff because it doesn't have a database of all of the images you want. It's going all the way back to December 16th, 2023. So we can't go to that because that's in the past. So some things that you need to correct and say, use this database, use that database, and so on and so forth. So let me go and look in the Q&A. Have you used Base 44? No, I haven't. But if you've used that and you like it, continue to use it because there's so many out there. How were you able to keep up with all the AI tools that have been developed? It feels overwhelming. It is. Um, and So how do you upload this to a website? You can upload that once it's all finished. You can go ahead and publish it on your publishing platform of choice. You can upload it to GitHub if you want to, and then you can get if you have a friend who can go ahead and you can upload it to say a platform like Wix or WordPress if you need somebody to help you with that, but you've done all the heavy lifting and you can just get somebody to help you with that part there. But the overwhelming question, that's true. There's so much. And so in the resources, I've given you some people that I find that they're knowledgeable, that they stay up on the news. They're 20 times more people who are yakking at you in terms of new things that are coming out, this thing, that thing. And sometimes I watch them just to kind of get a different take on different things or to go deep on a particular subject. But yeah, it is overwhelming. And I've done this over 2 years, 2.5 years. I was on ASU's the provost committee on AI to get our students up to speed, to come up with our policies on students learning about AI and what they can and cannot do. Because we didn't want to be a cop, we wanted to be a guide, and I wanted to teach my students. And so this is just what that same example, the next steps. You want to set a time frame of the events you want to connect it to, say, use these databases and so on and so forth. Um, the other thing that you can do, thinking like a entrepreneur, is start your own media empire. Now, I look at like Joy Reid when she was let go, and of course, she was very upset and she was crying. A lot of people have been in that situation. You wouldn't think that these big names are getting fired, Stephen Colbert and all these people, and they have the big names and they have to figure out what they're going to do. I see that Jim Acosta is on Substack and he's also on YouTube. I'm seeing him on YouTube. But what about you? What are you going to do if it comes? I hope it never does. Or maybe again, you want to retire and do your own thing. YouTube right now is kind of one of the places to go to. It's the dominant media provider. It has the largest share of TV streaming. Pew Research says it has the highest usage across all age groups, not just young people, not just old people. And the thing about YouTube, it kind of started out people watching, looking at it on their phones, but now people are streaming all kinds of content on their TV. So people are comfortable. They're in the lazy boy. They're watching it on the sofa from bed. And so lots of people are looking at it, and their videos continue to drive traffic and conversions long after they're published, unlike these fast moving feeds like on TikTok. So it's not too late to start your own YouTube channel if that's what you think you might want to do. Creator platforms are set to out earn traditional media this year. Some people are saying it already just surpassed that in the last few days, but I haven't gotten a source on that. I saw one, but I couldn't track it down the second time, but it's real close. And so that's really important. So, how do you get in? Think about a content area that provides information that can help people in their daily lives. I mean, if you want to talk about, politics and what MAGA's doing or what Trump's doing, there's a lot of people in that space. And if you want to get into it, nothing wrong with that. I just, for me, it's just too much. There's a lot of people doing that already. But if you want a content area that provides information that'll help people in their daily lives, that might be something that's more sustainable and that people will come back to you over and over again. So, what am I talking about? Draw from your reporting expertise or a personal interest that you might have, like financial literacy, learning new skills. If you have a particular skills, maybe you refinish furniture. I'd watch that all the time. Health, how to stay healthy, life after 50, seeing the world on a budget, living abroad, being an expat, places that makes sense to retire to, whether it's in the United States or outside of the United States, that kind of thing. Let's see if we have some more questions coming up here. And you know what? If you don't want to be the face of your channel, you don't have to. Some people, it makes sense for Roland to be the face of the channel because he had a brand before he started creating, doing his thing. Joy has a face, but you don't have to be the face unless that's something that you want to be. Faceless YouTube channels can work as long as the content is consistent and credible, that you're posting not every single day. The algorithm for YouTube, as a lot of people will tell you, has changed. They're not looking for you to post three, four, five times a week. If you're posting maybe one time a week or two times a week, like a shorter 9 to 12 minute video, you can go longer with the 18 to 25-minute video because those ad placements, you can get those ad placements in there. You can maybe do a couple of shorts to promote the longer content. So if you're doing, places to retire to or expat places, you're doing a longer video, a deep dive into living in Colombia, for example. And then you're promoting that with your shorts. And then you can do a longer one, 60 minutes or longer, by combining sort of the best of living in South America, where you take 8 of your previous videos and putting them together, like all the best places in South America that's good to retire to or to live in, the best places in Northern Europe to live to or move to, that kind of thing. So you're trying to get those ad placements in there, and you can bring in money that way. Alternately, you can create a production company to produce and edit videos for influencers on the rise. Some people, they want to be out there, but they don't know anything about producing and editing videos. What they're doing, and a lot of these folks are outsourcing to people in other countries. They're just throwing it together, whatever they want it to do, they want them to do, they're putting it together, and it doesn't have the finesse, it doesn't have, what we can bring to the table. So that might be something that you can do. But even if you're working with your best friend, remember this is a business, not a hobby. Sign contracts, don't get burned, because I've been watching a whole lot of these lawyers who are telling you to make sure you set everything up the right way. Okay, Lisa, I want AI to populate news from specific trusted sources. Is there AI that I can ask to pull specific news across the internet? Any examples you can share? Yes, this is where agentic or these agents come in, where you can set up an agent that can, like a newsletter, it can go out and find specific trusted sources, can look for the things that you want to bring in, and they can write an email to you. So every morning when you get up, 7 a.m., you're going to have all the news and sources that you want in your email. For posted gigs on career sites, what would some job titles be to pursue and add to a resume? Not sure I understand. You mean if you're looking for jobs on career site, what would be some job titles? I mean, I think people are looking for, um, they might be looking for producers, video editors. You have to be careful because there are a lot of folks out there looking for content aggregators there, or data entry people. So you just have to be kind of careful. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more in terms of what you are looking for. We've only got a few more minutes. But again, if you watch some of these legal people, just make sure that you're setting everything up the right way with contracts, or if people are doing things for you, make sure that they sign a contract that any content that they create for you, you own the contract, they don't, because you don't want to get copyright strikes if you're on YouTube and then they say that, well, I made that and now you're making all this money, and they can do a copyright strike that, because if they shot it, if they created it, they, even if you paid them, which I'm sure you will, they own it. So make sure that they are signing something to say that that you own it. Now, these are some of my favorite YouTubers, people that I've been going to and watching for a couple of years now. Matt Wolf, Futurepedia, Theoretical Media when it comes to AI news and some of the tools. When it comes to coding, Creator Magic was kind of dipping into sort of like the AI generation stuff, and now he's kind of nestled himself into, coding, vibe coding, and all of that stuff. Futurepedia, the person, Lisa, I think, who just and also Matt Wolf. I mean, he has done some stuff on how to set up an agent for you, how to set up an agent. So if you wanted to set up a really simple agent that will go out and it's like node based, it's really easy where you'll go out and look for all of these sources, pull those in, and every morning it'll have all this AI news that'll be sent an email to you to your email every morning. So when you get up, you'll have the latest. And then Marquez Brownlee, MKB, if you're not following him, he's a young brother. He's probably like 29, 30. He's been doing this since he was 15, but he interviews all the big people now, whether it's Zuckerberg or, folks from Apple, but he is just a phenomenon. He's got 4 channels. He's just killing it. I'm so proud of him. Um, so as I wrap up, and I'm going to just take some more questions here, please visit my site, sssstoriesxr.com, to enter our giveaway. I, did this site a few years ago, put it on the back burner, but now that I'm retired, I'm bringing it out. I redid it with AI. So we're going to be giving away a free mini documentary. If you have somebody, your great great granddaddy or grandmommy or somebody like that who you want to see a mini documentary done about their life, please enter our contest or our giveaway, and I'd be more than happy to do that if you win. And then also keep an eye out for my AI training course for media professionals that I want to launch right before the holiday. And I think that'll be great. So let me stop sharing here and then go into the more. And here it is. Rename my site. Why? Okay, let me go. Is there anything language we should look for in terms uh, of use that states we own what we create in the AI? Um, Lisa, the thing is that copyright law is, and you can search this and do a little research. They are way behind. They're trying to figure it out. A few months ago, the U.S. Copyright Office issued some guidance. They issued one, and then like about a week ago, they issued a clarification. They just don't know. But basically, what they're saying is, for example, if you are an artist and you painted a picture or you drew something, right? Or you're a graphic designer, or if you're a singer and somebody came along and used that to do something to make a piece of art using AI, what they're basically saying is they have to substantially change it. They have to substantially change it for them to say it's different from what you did. In the same way, if you took Starry Night and you changed it, it's no longer blue and yellow. It's pink and green, and you changed it a lot. I mean, it's in the public domain right now, but if you changed it quite a bit and it's substantially different. So they're still trying to figure out a lot of this stuff with AI in terms of what is copyrightable and what's not. But a lot of artists are just not putting their stuff out, and they're saying, do not use my work. You cannot go onto my site and grab things out and using that to train your model. There are lawsuits all over the place, and this is still being, fought in the courts. So I just wouldn't make, if I were an artist, I wouldn't make my stuff available, like for any and everybody to look at. And that's messed up because if you're an artist, you want to sell your art publicly. Um, the name of my site is Ancest Stories XR. And that is, I am going, well, it's Ancest Stories XR. If you look up rethahill.com, you can find it. And when you get the recording of the webinar, it'll be on the front page of that. What suggestions do you have for showing your AI skills to future employers? How do employers evaluate if you have AI skills? So if I were going to an interview, let's say if you were interviewing at a news company, I would look at their site and I would come up with something that you could show them what you can do. For example, let's say you're going to interview at a local TV station. I would maybe make a little avatar that maybe is iconic for that local TV station. I would go to something like Hey Jen, or I would go to another avatar maker and I would come up with, let's say if it's in Phoenix, I'd make it like a Western motif, like a person, a persona, or make in a Western motif, and I'd put some information, a database of information, everything about Phoenix history in there, and show it how it can answer people's question. Why did they select the name Phoenix? Um, why did they select Phoenix for the capital? All that kind of stuff, just to show them a little something, something in terms of what you could do. Something that would delight them, a little taste, like when you go to a restaurant and they give you a little spoonful of dessert to make you want to come back and order something more. Um, can you repeat the name of an AI? So I use d-id.com, but then there's Hey Gen, which is like generator, Hey Gen, and there are a bunch of other ones. Do you know of any AI that can help me create a newsletter that can be emailed out weekly? Um, Yeah, I can't think of a particular one off the top of my head, but I think, Jason, if you go and to any of, like ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those and ask that question, I think you would get a list. But also, Matt Wolf has a newsletter that he does every week, and he has a site that he lists like really cool tools, futuretools.com, and he lists like really cool and useful AI tools and I'm sure there's a newsletter creator on there. And so the name of my website is anceststoriesxr.com. And let's see if I go back to my homepage. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go this way so you all can see it. Here it is, right here, anceststoriesxr.com. And again, this will be sent out. All right, guys. So we have just a few more minutes. If there are any other questions, we've got a couple minutes, but I hope you got a feel for the breadth of what AI can offer you. And, there's a lot that you can do to bring in money. And I hope that you can see that AI is not just something that can take jobs away from you, but it's something that can give you an extra stream of income. My very first job working at the Detroit Free Press, walked into work after 9 months and they had laid off five editorial assistants, and I was one of them. I've never been laid off since, but I always thought that I wanted to have something else that was mine. I always tried to stay ahead of things. And I've done that. And I'm always been a curious person, and I've always been interested in technology. And so when something new comes along, whether it's the internet, whether it's, looking at 360 content or augmented reality or virtual reality. I always like try to learn as much about it as I can. And AI is no different. It's something that I've just tried to learn as much of it as I can. And this is going to change everything. This we're still at the beginning of it. So you're not behind. Look at those people that I listed on the resources page. Just start watching them when you have a minute. And they are smart, they break it down. And if you start trying to watch everybody, you are going to get overwhelmed. And just practice. You can't break anything. Just try to do something, try to vibe code, maybe a little app to keep track of your daily schedule or something. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my expertise with AI, and look for the trading sessions that I'll be doing, the training module coming towards the end of this year, fresh for January. So if you want to sign up and we can go deep into it, and that way we can practice together. And I'd love to do it. I've been a professor for the last 18 years, and I'd love to teach you a little bit more of what I know. So thank you very much. Okay.